I went through a lot, but again, I was not mature enough to know that all of this happened and it's trauma. No, I thought it was just part of life and keep going. With my grandma, it was different, because I felt broken. I couldn't speak about her for 2 years. Like, oh, grandma. And I would say grandma, and my voice would change and my eyes would water. Like, I couldn't speak about her.
Hello and welcome. My name's Carey Sheffield, photographer and CEO of my own successful business. I'm also the host of SheNETWorks, a great believer in lifting up women and loyal supporter to those that are around me. We're all surrounded by incredible women who are breaking the molds in this thing called life. Behind every successful online persona is a real person facing struggles, failures, and living real life stories that don't always have happy endings. We will have an honest conversation, dispel this myth of perfection, and find out what they consider a success, how they achieved it, and learn what they are still reaching for. You are not alone. Join the conversation. So today my guest is Monica Franco from La Moon Beauty Agency. Now we've worked together, beautiful young woman from Colombia with a daughter who's 6, Celeste. And we've worked together, and recently on our last shoot that we did, we were with Dr. Skylar Hamilton, who's been a previous guest. And Monica really resonated with her and told me about that and was having really strong feelings about it. And there's a lot of self-growth happening in Monica's life, and she's looking to change for all the reasons. And she's going to be here with us today, and she's going to tell us about all of those reasons. Monica, I'm so happy that you're with us. Can you just give us some background about you, introduce you and your business? I've just kind of encapsulated it a little bit, but I want the listeners and viewers to hear just a little bit more about you.
Okay. Yeah, and my name is Monica Franco. And I own a beauty company. We do hair and makeup for weddings, productions, TV, all of that. But today I'm not that person. Today I'm just Monica. And the reason why I'm here, like you say, the previous time that I was here. So 3 years ago, I lost my grandma, and she was the biggest love of my life. She was the love of my life before my daughter. And so that was such a hard time for me to understand and to go through. And after I felt a little bit better, I started researching and reading books just because I felt something was missing. And so from there, I started reading, doing all these podcasts, all these things. And then I met Scarlett. And I was talking to her about everything that she does. And I'm like, oh, I do this. I go to sleep and I think to myself, oh, I'm healing myself. And I'm doing this because that's what she does. She does the healing part of it. And then she's like, believe it or not, you're doing a lot of things that I already do, and that's how I heal, and that's what I do. And so it made me think that this is how I want to help people, even though I'm doing.
Yeah, let's have a think about that for a second. So you're on this path to positivity and self-growth and healing yourself. Let's just go back a little bit. So obviously you lost your grandma, she's the love of your life. You're still a very young woman, and I think all of us are going through so many things. Tell us a little bit about you and why you feel that you've not been handling things very well, why you've been approaching life, like most of us, in a stress state. Talk a bit about how you were raised, the human being that you are before you started to try and make all these changes, and why you were making these changes. What are the symptoms of not taking care of yourself, and how did they look for you? So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to unpack there, but I just want the people listening to understand why you feel you needed to make such a big change in the direction of your life.
So I feel when we grow up, we are growing up with all of these things that parents tell you, oh, be prepared for your life, or like scary and worry if something doesn't work, or it's really bad to be scared and it's really bad to be sad, and it's like you always have to do a step more.
Do you think your parents had a problem with their emotions, sharing them, or sharing them in a valid way?
So I feel like our parents before now, they didn't have the tools, enough tools to raise kids.
Yeah, we didn't talk about things. Yeah.
You didn't talk about your feelings. You didn't talk about anything. Now that I have a daughter, I was like, why did my mom never do that? Why didn't she do this? Why didn't she ask that? So we were raised without any information.
So being raised without any information and being raised without having that conversation, how did that affect you going into your adult life? How do you feel that you weren't equipped to deal with life? What's changed?
I just felt it didn't feel right. So, and I had a lot of things happen to me when I was little, and one of them was my dad. Not like we didn't speak to my dad because of a huge family thing we had, and at that moment I was 13. I was 13, and I remember crying a lot in my bed and saying like, why this? Why my dad? Or like all of that, right? And so I thought about, I have two options. I'm going to be there, oh, poor girl, she's doing that because she didn't have a dad. Or I'm going to be the person who is, oh my God, she's doing that and she didn't have a dad. So I chose for people to think, wow, she didn't have a dad for so long, or her dad is not in the picture, but she's still doing big things.
But did you heal the loss of your dad, or did you just bury it inside and go out in the world and put on a brave face?
Yes, I feel like I didn't heal that. I didn't have the tools to heal.
Yeah.
I'm still learning to heal. And that's one of my biggest things. Like, if you healing from all of these childhood things and everything that happened to your life, it's so important for you to live a better life or be more positive, to understand things. And it's just, everything comes from a different place inside you. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna heal and I'm fine tomorrow and I don't care about it. No, it's like a whole process. It's about accepting your feelings and living with them and knowing that it's going to get better, So I feel like healing is very important for you to keep going with your life.
But and how do people do that? So you lost your grandma and that seriously affected you. What things were happening to you after you lost her?
So again, she was the love of my life. And for the first...
And tell us a bit about her.
She was amazing.
Yeah, where did she did she work?
She didn't work, and I'm from Colombia, and I lived in the second floor, she lived on the first floor. And I don't know if it's from traumas and if it's from like all of my childhood, but I don't have a lot of memories with my mom. I don't have a lot of with my dad a little bit, but all my memories.
But that could be a block. I mean, we block things.
Yes,
right?
Definitely. And there's a lot of things that I blocked. And I'm sure I did that. And not because it didn't happen, but I don't have good memories about certain things or my mom. But I have amazing memories with my grandma. She used to make me breakfast. She used to make me like sweet things like ice cream with this cookie and a happy face. And, and she would always like, oh, come down and play. That was my life. My life was my grandma. She moved to Puerto Rico. And we had this whole family problem that I didn't speak to my dad. I also didn't speak to her.
Oh, wow.
And that was like a big thing.
So was she your father's mother?
She's my dad.
Because I was wondering about your mother, how she was raised, that this woman would be so different with you. But so this was the mother of your father.
She was the sweetest. Like, she was the sweetest. She was always like taking care. For me.
She raised you.
She raised me. She raised me, and so the love that I had for her was like incredible. And I so for a lot, when I didn't speak to her and I didn't have a way, I was very little. But whatever happened in my family, I want to say I was 12, 13. So I was still like, and like whatever my sister did, whatever my parents did, I didn't have my own, And so not talking to her was very painful. And when I finally did 12 years after.
Wow.
It was 12 years after.
So you're having to deal with the fact that you've wasted 12 years of
my whole dad's family.
Yeah.
Like I didn't speak to my cousins.
Did she try and reach out to you?
No, I felt that
So this was a big thing. Obviously something you can't talk about.
I can.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. It could be hard. So I'm going to make a little resume of everything. I was taken to Puerto Rico this is how I remember it. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a real deal, right? But I was taken on vacation. I was left there with my aunt. So I was taken by my dad with my sister. And what I saw, it was just he left us there, right? I lived there for years, maybe 1 or 2 years. I went to school, I went everything, but I was not in the mindset of like, why am I here? I'm just living. Like I'm a kid. I'm 13, 12. I was 12 when I first went to Puerto Rico. So I'm a kid. And so I just went to high school. I don't remember talking to my mom on the phone or nothing.
So she's back in Colombia.
She's back in Colombia. And I don't remember talking to her or doing anything. And one day she just shows up and with cops and all of these things. And so the end of it was like there was
So effectively your dad kidnapped you.
Yes.
And took you to Puerto Rico.
That was the thing. My mom took all the cops and all of these people because she had a kidnap.
Well, I mean, effectively that's basically what happened.
Yes. Legally, it was like a kidnap, but then my aunt had paperwork that it was legal and she let us go and all of that. But I don't speak too much about it because I don't know what really happened. Like I know what
what I see happen, 2 adults didn't consider their children, and this is all that you're talking about. For whatever reason, he decided to do that. It affected you.
Yes.
But you didn't get a say. You didn't get educated on why, and that's a massive trauma. And you not remembering your mom or not even in that circumstance, not think, because if you had to think about your mom, I mean that's grief. You were separated from her.
And also my mom makes fun of me now, right? When I'm all grown up. She's like, "Oh, you're so traumatized." And I'm like,
well, I mean, of course you are. And for her to belittle that, I mean, that's a lack of understanding. And that's just, like you said, a different generation. But of course you're traumatized. I mean, it's devastating. I mean, to be taken away from your mother, firstly, for how many years?
12. No, from my mom, 2.
So 2 years, that's a big time in developmental years.
But I also don't remember missing her. You know? Like, I don't remember if I ever asked, "Oh, where's my mom?" or "I want to talk to my mom." Like, I just remember me living.
And you weren't a baby, so, like, you were old enough.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I blocked a lot of memories. A lot of memories.
So then she came back and took you?
She came back to take me, but the situation was she couldn't take us right away. So we were going to be sent to a foster home, me and my sister.
Well.
But I believe everyone in your life comes for a reason, right? There is a slight second that you cannot meet a person or whatever. And so we had the judge. Mm-hmm. The judge said, if you put them in a foster home, they're going to get adopted and we can't do anything. They could be separated, we can't do anything. So he had a mom. He said I could take them to my mom's house. While
I know. I mean, it's just incredible. But I don't think it happens like that anymore. If
legally,
it was,
I don't think you can.
No, absolutely.
But my aunts that we were living with, my aunt and my grandma, she used to work for the government, so everybody knew her.
So they kept you in the family, but, you went to stay with the judge's mom.
Yes.
Right.
And I just remember eating chicken and praying.
Okay.
And crying.
Yeah.
So from there, I obviously I grew this love for my grandma because I was always with her, right? But yeah, I don't remember things with my mom. And so I lost all my dad's family. I lost my only 2 cousins that I have, which I grew up with them also. I lost my uncle, my aunt, my grandma, my dad, right?
How was your relationship with your mother when you went back to Colombia, did you? From 12, 13 till 12 years later in your 20s, what was your relationship like with your mom? How was she?
So I only lived with her for a little bit. And I moved out when I was 16 with my sister. So I felt obviously I had a mom. My mom was my sister and my grandma.
Right.
But I also feel like...
But your mom came and took you.
Yes.
But so, I mean, what I'm not understanding here is how you and your actual biological mother, when you went back, what was your relationship like?
It was good.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. It was normal, I guess. Again, I felt like I was so little that I just went with whatever. I went with whatever my sister was going, whatever they were taking me. Like I didn't have a strong personality.
Right.
So I always did what...
So you're very amenable.
Yes.
The trouble is when you're that amenable, when you're that quiet, when you're not voicing, no one's asking you questions. No one's seeing how you are. They're just accepting. There's a lot happening to you while you're not speaking. You're internalizing everything.
And I had changed so much. And I have worked. I'm still working on it because I'm not good at... I could tell you look beautiful and I love you so much and you're the best, or like, but when it comes to maybe saying what I'm feeling, like, listen, I feel this is not right, or you shouldn't do this, or it's hurting me, or it's affecting me. I'm not good at doing that.
Because no one educated you. That's the trouble. So we learn to speak English or we learn to speak Spanish, and but we learn. We have a teacher, however that teacher looks, and we have a method of learning. It sounds to me like you were surrounded by people that weren't educating you on having feelings. I mean, the fact that your feelings were disregarded. I understand that adults have to make decisions sometimes that affect children, but not in the best way. But we don't always ask the child's opinion. It's not always possible. But what happened to you, you weren't allowed to have feelings because you were just moved around and just taken. So no one actually ever taught you how to feel.
And for the longest time, I think, I want to say maybe 15 years ago, I just started saying what I'm feeling.
Yes.
Because I remember this was like my first boyfriend, right? And I been wanting to tell him that I had feelings for him, right? And that I liked him or whatever. And I couldn't. Like I told him one day, listen, I need to talk to you. He got so mad because he kept asking me, what is it? And I'm like, oh, let me breathe. I couldn't tell him. I couldn't tell him what I was feeling, that I loved him, that I, we grew up together. And so I lost so many people, opportunities, everything because I was not able to speak.
Is that fear?
I think so. I haven't
You haven't decided what that is.
Decided what is. But
it looks to me like fear. But you're afraid of losing people.
I also feel like I sometimes not. Obviously, I'm not going to hurt you if I say I love you, right? Mm-hmm. But when I don't like something, I don't want to hurt people. Mm-hmm. And so then I lost my aunt that I loved. And from the day I lost her, I started telling my brother, my sister, and my mom that I loved them. And to this day, we talk on the phone. Okay, I love you. Bye. But we never did that. Her parents didn't do that. And I asked her, like last week, I was like, Mom, did they ever tell you they loved you? Did they ever kiss you? Did they ever play with you? She's like, no, we were 7 of us. So again, that is when I say they didn't have the right tools to raise kids. They didn't have the right tools to teach us how to validate our feelings.
And times have changed. Obviously, we are now talking, and we are now. I mean, my generation, my feelings weren't regarded as I grew up, and I was in a house full of feeling, and it wasn't good feeling. So I didn't have the tools, and I've learned tools now too late in many of the circumstances that I'm thinking of right now. But when not too late, it's never too late. I definitely feel that I became better in my later parenting years. I mean, I became a parent at 20, wasn't equipped. Definitely felt love, knew what love was, because I know what love was. I knew how I felt towards someone, and I considered that to be love. I didn't know what love was. I hadn't had it. So maybe when people did love me, I didn't know how to feel about that. When you get a compliment and you're uncomfortable?
Yes.
Well, I am. I'm really uncomfortable, and I make a joke. I don't accept compliments very well. And I think that similarly, I didn't accept love very well.
Of course.
In that same way.
And when I started doing that, hugging my mom or touching her or like being sweet and touchy, which I love. Yeah. It's like my love language. It's like at least touching you, like grabbing you. And so when I started doing that to my mom, it felt so weird and so uncomfortable. But I started doing it more, and now it's good. Like I hug her, I love her, and I kiss her every time I leave the house and every time I get there. And I'm always showing my family and my loved ones that I love them because
how did when you went back to your grandma, how did that happen, and what did that do for you? Because, you were a whole different person. So did you go back to your dad, or was it just your grandma you saw again? Do you have a relationship with your father now?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes.
So, and did you see him at about the same time as you saw your grandma?
Yes.
So when you went, how did that happen? I mean, everyone would be like, well, come on, tell us what happened. Yes, yeah.
So I have one cousin, my only girl cousin on my dad's side. Again, I felt like with this whole situation in my life, I blocked a lot of memories, right? And so I just remember her coming to New York. We moved to New York like a year after. And she lived in Colombia. She went on vacation to a cousin in Connecticut, which is like 3 hours, I don't know. And she just showed up at my house one day. And we talked to her. I remember because of a picture, but I don't have memory of it. And I was 16, 17, I don't know. My aunt, who passed away, reached out to her, and they talked, and that's how she got into our lives again. And from there, we started, her parents, the whole family on my dad's side, went against her because she was being against their family.
By talking to you.
By talking to us.
Families are so toxic, aren't they? Yeah.
Again, we didn't have the tools to understand, to like...
But for your dad to not want to see... I mean, my dad's never had anything to do with me. I've never had my dad. My mother was married to him, but but I never had him in my life for a minute. But you did, and your grandma, like... I don't understand why people would cut off their arm. It just out of, when you're together and when it's good, I mean, you're his children, you're her grandchildren. It just seems insane to me that that you would just cut your nose off to spite your face, that you would not love those people. And it sounded like your grandmother adored you. I mean, maybe she just had to support her son, and that was why. And I'm sure it was very painful for her.
Maybe felt like she was going to go against their son and their daughter by talking to us.
Yes.
Because she was the mom.
Yeah. But the cousin saw you started talking, and you reached out. How old were you? You reached out to your grandmother?
I remember there was an email. I feel like my dad wrote me an email. And I wrote all these things, right?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Again, sometimes I was still young, and we don't think about what we say sometimes or how we say it. And so obviously I told him like he hurt me and all of these things. And I just remember his new wife. I believe she bought us a ticket, or my sister did, I remember. But I just remember hiding in a closet and coming out to my dad, and he started crying and hugging us. And actually we had a conversation about the whole thing. And he expressed that it wasn't that he didn't want us, and he looked a lot older.
Yeah.
He aged. And
He was brokenhearted.
yes,
Yeah. That's called grief.
he used to cry a lot. And
Yeah.
I remember crying on my 15th birthday, because for Spanish culture, quinceañera is like a big deal. I didn't celebrate my quinceañera.
Yeah.
I didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
And we just got to the States. My mom didn't have a job, so we didn't celebrate it. But I remember like crying because all of my 24 cousins before me had a quinceañera, you know, and my new friends and all of that. But at that time, I didn't understand. If I was in the mindset that I'm in right now, I'd be like, I don't care. It's a fit.
Yeah. You were 15.
Yeah. But he also mentioned that he cried so much that day on my birthday next to a phone, thinking if he should call me or not. He didn't know if I was going to reject him.
Oh,
and so maybe it wasn't that he didn't want to, but again, we didn't have the tools to be mature enough, be like, okay, I'm going to call. What's the worst thing that could happen? Hang up the phone, you know? And so for many years, I didn't talk to him. Now we have a good relationship. He's like the sweetest. And, but it took a lot of healing from all of it to be able to talk to him. My sister went like, oh, Dad, right away. I used to call him by his name for years.
Right.
For years, because I was like, how this person that it hurt me so much is just going to come and be my dad again.
Yeah.
Like he had to like work for it.
I mean, I think both of your parents hurt you very much.
Yes.
I think there was a lot of adults in your life that were very selfish.
Yes.
And so now, yes, you're a mom and you have a 6-year-old daughter. I think that you can't put your trauma, which was massive, into such a small box. And this is why now you're kind of, you come apart a little bit at the seams. So you lost your aunt.
I don't want my daughter to go through it.
No, and also you still here and you exist. You're still Monica. You are Celeste's mum, but you're still Monica, and you still need to have this life. How do you feel that this abandonment and being left and not being able to talk about your feelings, how do you feel that's affected your relationships, your intimate adult relationships?
I lost a lot of... I feel like I could have been a better person if I had a better communication skill.
And I don't think you need to say better person. I think your life might have been easier.
Relationship will be easier if I had the communication skills.
If you had trouble trusting people.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because you're in this one place one day and the next day you're in another place with no rationale behind it. Yeah.
And because of my daughter, I wanted to heal all of that, because I don't want to... A lot of what we do comes from all of these traumas that we don't think about. I used to say I'm not traumatized just because I wasn't depressed, or because I wasn't angry, or because I didn't need medicine to sleep, or like I didn't have these big problems that some people have. I'm like, I'm not traumatized, but I am. And it took me a lot to understand that, oh, this is why I do that. This is why I don't speak. This is why it's so hard for me to communicate. This is why it's so hard for me. So a lot of the things that we do come from like behind, like,
of course,
all this trauma and all these things.
And you talk about healing a lot. What does healing look like for you?
For me, is accepting all these traumas. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't have them. So I would not change one thing. So understanding them and going through the feeling with them. Like if you feel sad, let it sink in and be sad.
Do you think you can heal without help from somebody else? Do you feel that you need to have counselling and therapy? And do you think that real healing is possible without the assistance of someone guiding you through that?
No. I feel if you don't need to necessarily go to a specific person, but because I haven't, I just take little from everywhere, right? But without this information, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to heal it. We didn't know how to accept my feelings and go through them. So breathing and doing all these things that you're supposed to do, but without guidance, we don't know.
So tell us now then what some of your practices are that are helping you heal, and how you're changing as an individual in your life and in your business. I mean, and also, so you're a mom and you're an entrepreneur, you're a soul, businesswoman. How is your healing and how is this new development in your life helping you in every day? I want people that are sitting there now that have heard your struggles and found themselves in similar circumstances, or different, but same trauma. Like we all are kind of broken inside, all of us, and I know I definitely am. But what do you do on a daily basis to make you go out in the world and be better for yourself? And I don't mean better as in good or bad. I mean better for yourself.
So I'm going back to one of the questions that you asked before with my grandma. And I think that's when everything started, right?
Yes.
I went through a lot, but again, I was not mature enough to know that all of this happened and it's trauma. No, I thought it was just part of life and keep going. With my grandma, it was different, because I felt broken. I couldn't speak about her for 2 years. Like, oh, grandma. And I would say grandma, and my voice would change and my eyes would water. Like, I couldn't speak about her. And so I did speak with someone. She was she studied like psychology and all of that in Colombia. And I know her for years, and I just spoke to her and I'm like, this is happening. And I want to be able to feel better. I don't want to keep crying every day. And I also hold that inside because of my daughter. I didn't want her to see me crying. And I always have to put on a smile for work, for all these people. When my grandma passed, for like 2 weeks, she died and I went right away. Meanwhile, I was there 3 days before, helping take care of her, right? I would go 4 times a month to help her. But when she died, I didn't cry. I was trying to be stronger for my aunt because she was devastated. She's been living with her for 25 years and taking care of her as a daughter. She died, she was 97. And she was still good. She was so funny. Her laugh was the loudest. And she's like, I could curse because I'm at the age where I could curse and I could say anything. She was the sweetest. And so I was so strong for my grandma, for my aunt, that I didn't cry and I didn't let anything out. I didn't talk about it. When I first got back from Puerto Rico, that Monday, I got back on Sunday. That Monday, I had to go to the emergency room. because I was bleeding everywhere.
Oh my God.
Like I was throwing up and bleeding. I was just bleeding. My stomach was hurting. My head was hurt. Like I felt I couldn't move.
Just kept everything inside. Yeah.
And so for the next 2 years, I was, every time I heard a song or anything, I would feel that way until I decided I didn't want to feel that way. And I feel that's when the change started to happen. Mm-hmm. I had a lot of things in my life before, but I think this was the most painful. I was also older and with more memories, with more feelings. When I was little, I don't remember a lot. And so this was the most painful thing I have ever lived, right? But I didn't want to feel that way because I have a daughter. And so I talked to this person, and she's like, you just need to be thankful for what you did, because you couldn't done anything else. So we are 5 grandkids, and I was the only one who always went to see her. Celebrated her birthday, Mother's Day. I would bring my dad or whoever to come and celebrate her birthday. Mm-hmm. And I did so much for her. She's like, you need to be thankful for everything you did for her. And that she loved you so much. So I remember I work out a lot, and I remember being in this sauna room by myself and thinking about her and crying and just thinking, I am thankful for you. I am letting you go. I am lucky. I am blessed that I had her in my life. And so I remember crying a lot, but it felt so much better.
Yeah.
Like just accepting it. And obviously in my mind.
And just letting it out.
Yes.
I mean, I think that when you talk about you were bleeding everywhere, this doesn't happen every day, right? I feel like her death was the catalyst of all the trauma and all of the grief that you were feeling. You sounded like somebody, a tiny little person that you are, that just bottled all of that up for you to rupture in that way. You know, your grandmother dying for me sounds like also like a moment where a lot went, you know, and what she represented and all of the things that happened in your family. And she was kind of the matriarch of all of that, to let her go.
And I feel all of us know the basics and what we hear all the time. Everything happens for a reason. Everything's going to be okay. But hearing it, to actually believe in it and going through the feelings of it is different from just saying, yeah, everything happens for a reason. No, like everything really does happen. It's a different, the same phrase. It means so different when you change your mind, when you have a different mindset. So everything does happen for a reason. In my head, I'm like, I know she was older. We were waiting for it, right?
Yes.
She was 97. And so she's older. She's not suffering. She's in a better place. You, in your mind, you're old. You know all of this. But in your heart, you feel different. So I wanted to sync my heart with my mind. You know, I feel that she is okay, that she is better, and it's part of life. And it's just, that's what we came here for. We were born, we grow up, we live, we create memories. And I was so blessed to have her in my life and to go see her all the time. And
but so what are you doing now? You're listening to books and podcasts, and talk to us about how we can heal our traumas, how you feel we can. What are you doing for yourself? Who you are listening to? And what do your days look like in terms of making yourself better?
So my days, every night I pray. And I've been teaching my daughter how to pray and being thankful. I never ask for anything. You know, there's a lot of people, and I, you know, obviously I'm moving stuff. Oh, please give me this. Or no, always thank you for giving me this. Thank you for what I have. Thank you for where I am.
And then I believe speaking, and I'm learning to be grateful. I always resented gratitude. And this is going to sound strange, but when I grew up, we had nothing. And when people gave us things, being made to feel grateful, it made you feel submissive and like a second-class citizen, like you're being handed a second-hand dress or whatever, and you're supposed to be so grateful because you don't have anything. I never wanted to hurt people's feelings with that kind of gratitude. And I realize now, you're right. I think if we speak positive affirmation, if we see the glimmers and not the darkness more, then more positivity will come to us.
And that's one of my points and the reasons why I'm here. Because I naturally always saw the good. So everybody's like, why are you not worried? Why am I worried? You know, like, and this is how I want to help people, because we go through situations and we cannot have a good day every day or control the external situations, right?
Cool.
But we could have the best attitude and control how we react to that problem. So, you know, yes, my grandma died, and it took me a lot to understand, but that's how life is, and it helps me to feel loved, to be better, to be stronger, to, you know, a lot of things. And little situations. I'm just going to give an example. One time, I was with a girlfriend on a motorcycle, and we went to a show. She lost her car keys. She was furious. furious. And I'm like, calm down. Everything happens for a reason, right? We're in Colombia. And that person was so mad. We looked for the keys everywhere. She had to call her sister to come up and give us a spare key. When we're driving down, there is a motorcycle accident. 2 people are dead.
Wow.
And I squeeze her, right? Because I'm in the back, right? I squeeze her. I said, that could be us if you didn't lose your keys. Mm-hmm. So just everything does happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. Everything that comes in your life, every situation, every second that you turn left. Oh, I felt like I had to turn left, or I want to go this way, I want to go that way, or in any situation, just there is a reason for it. There is a learning reason to it. So that's like thinking about positive and being so positive about everything that happened to you, good or bad, no matter the outcome.
So how do you feel then when you're out in the world and you're working around people and you're surrounded by negativity and you're surrounded by social media where it's not positive? And are you really now, is it so obvious to you that when you're around toxicity, like, do you have to subtract yourself from it? Do you get tired from to try and stay in a positive mindset? It's really hard. How do you make that work for you?
So the first change I went through, like the healing and all this mindset and self-growth, was eliminating distraction and people. Mm-hmm. I had friends that I spoke to and they're like, oh, I'm doing bad because of my health, because of this, because of that. It's like, you have 2 beautiful kids, you have a beautiful husband that provides for you and love you, and you have all of these things, but yet we see the bad first, right? And for me, the more you say it, the more it's going to happen. So if my back hurts, if I'm telling everyone that my back hurts, it's going to hurt more.
Yeah.
So I ignore my pain. I'm like, nothing hurts me. I'm amazing. And sometimes I've been broken and people ask me, how are you? I'm amazing. My day is going so fabulous. Just because it's the law of attraction, everything you said, everything you do, it affects your body. And so being positive and having that mindset of being changing that.
Have you seen changes in your success because of your change in your mindset? Do you see a difference in your business?
Yes. I had one friend that told me, you're too positive, you're too nice, don't get in people's business. But I felt like that was my superpower. Right. That was my authenticity to help. And that's how people hire me. And I connect through people through the weirdest ways, through moons a lot. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I love moons. And
I know, La Moon.
La Moon. And everything that comes with an energy and all of that. And it's so hard sometimes, like you were saying, to get out of a situation where everything is negativity. Mm-hmm. But I feel you set the tone in the room. So if you come like with a bad attitude saying, oh, this one is going to be horrible, this client is so annoying, it's going to be horrible and it's going to be annoying. Oh, the trial went horrible. Yeah, but the trial was one thing, but today she's going to be amazing. Yeah. It's going to be an amazing wedding. It's going to be good. And if you set the tone and you already go in a better mindset, it's going to happen. Yeah. So and when I met Scarlett, right?
This is Dr. Scarlett Hamilton. She was one of our previous guests. Yes.
When I met Dr. Scarlett, I come to notice that that's how I help people. Let's say I have a bride and she's going through things. I don't know. I'm very touchy. So like I hug them out of nowhere, I'm to a stranger, and they feel so much better. Like, are you okay? Just by a touch, Also, that drains your energy because hearing all these things,
you can get compassion fatigue.
Yes. And so I start talking, and it's gonna get better, or it's raining, but the pictures on the rain look so amazing. It's gonna be beautiful. Nobody has pictures raining. It's fine. Like always looking at the good things. And I feel that's how I help people behind the chair. Yeah. And that's how I I want to keep helping, and I want to keep growing, and I want to keep healing, and I want to keep learning, because it's just a different mindset that not a lot of people come to realize or be aware of your surroundings and how you act.
Who are you listening to and who are you following that is helping you in your growth?
So for the longest, after my grandma passed, I felt I was missing something, and I was wasting my time in social media and music. So I started to be more aware, and I started to listen to a lot of podcasts or books. So I went to friends or people I knew that I liked the way they think, or I liked the way they, to grab a little bit of each one and say, like, what book do you recommend me? So I started to doing the Kabbalah and the Law of Attraction and the 5 a.m. Club and all of this.
Yes, I remember you talking about the 5 a.m. Club a lot. Yes. Yeah.
I try so much. For having a daughter is not easy. But for the longest, I was waking up at 4:30, doing all of this, working out, and it was...
And is the ethos behind that, the 5 a.m. Club, just having more of your own time at the beginning of the day where you're not distracted?
Yes, and meditating. That's like what I'm working on, meditation. It's hard. And I felt since I was little, my family is very spiritual. And since I was little, my grandpa used to tell me, just like breathe, try to picture a white page, and now that's called meditation.
Yeah.
So I've been working on meditation and how to do and what am I supposed to feel and all of these things, right? To be able to conquer all of the other stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing.
And what about, if you listen to anyone in particular?
Yes, I have this lady who I loved. Her name is Sala Amalani.
Yeah, I think we wrote it down. Yeah. We can put her in the notes.
Yes.
And how did you find her? Just tripped over her in your searches?
When I do go on my Instagram, I only have like self-growth quotes,
spiritual healers and stuff.
Yes.
And I think
because they only make videos, not the whole conversation, because sometimes you get lost in the conversation, but the very important things. So I love looking at those, and I'm like, oh yeah, I do that. Oh yeah, I love to.
I mean, this is influence. Like the thing about social media is, and you're absolutely right, we're surrounded by lots of things. I remember 20 years ago doing my training in advertising. I was in marketing, and at that point there was no social media, and we were seeing as human beings 2,500 advertising influences a day. That was before social media. Can you imagine the number now? I don't know what the number is. But yes, what we're digesting, what we eat affects our body. What we think and see and read and watch is obviously affecting our mind and our spirit.
And that's how I eliminated a lot of things in my life. Movies. I'm not saying don't watch movies. I'm not saying don't listen to music, but be aware. So me listening to rap and cursing and do all these things, and for me it's a waste of my time. I could be listening to how to learn Portuguese, which I do sometimes, at least Portuguese music or something. And I drive a lot, and so for me sometimes it's a waste of time listening to music. But I'm also, when I do listen to music, I'm aware that I am listening to the music for a little bit, and then I could learn too. I do a lot of audiobooks because I drive a lot. And so being aware of what it's not that it's not good for you, but you're not learning from it. Music, movies, social media. And so scrolling. You could be, and that's how I felt that I needed to be learning something every day.
And I think, and you're absolutely right, and I think we want to be learning. I think it keeps us alive. I think that there are times when we are allowed to just stop and just exist. I find it really hard to just exist, and we need to find the channel that allows us to do that. And I mean, whether it's music or words or reading or something.
And also not think about the future or the past.
Yes.
Because it doesn't exist. The past already passed and the future doesn't exist.
Yes.
So, and it's so hard to do. It's so hard to live in the present.
In the moment.
It's so hard. So I hear a lot of people saying, oh, I'm so worried about this summer. I'm so worried about this, that it's going to happen in October. Why are you worried? Worry about today. Maybe plant some seeds. If they grow, they grow. If they don't, they don't. But worry about now, what you're doing now. Because stressing and crying and being depressed now for something that's going to happen in 3 months, it's a waste of your time and your energy.
So with that being said, and we'll kind of wrap it up here, this is the Monica of the future, and this is you working on yourself, and this is you becoming better, and you know, you're successful in your business, and that's going forward. Where would you, and we're not worried about the future, but, and I don't want to know what I'm going to be doing in 5 years from now. I want it to be a surprise and all these things. But you know, I want to plan to some degree. I'm kind of waiting for the universe to kind of give me some nods. I feel like I'm sitting still because I don't know the direction to go in. Yeah.
When you said that, I felt that's how I felt, and that I was here for something else.
Yeah.
You know, like I was missing something. That's how I started. I was like, why? What can I do?
What is the thing? Yeah.
Give me something, you know.
Give me a sign, and then a pen flies through the air.
And then we ignore it.
Yeah. But what are you going to do with this? What is this? How is, yes. And I love the fact that you are just one person at a time making the world to be a better place. But do you see yourself training to become more of a coach, or do you think you'll stay doing what you're doing right now?
2 weeks ago, I went to a hiking trip with a friend. At the end of the trip, she did mention this because it was 4 days, me and her by ourselves. And I felt like a coach. I felt that I was teaching her how to be aware and not to play music while you're in the best, beautiful mountains in the world.
You can hear the world's music,
Yeah, and so we hugged trees, we walked bare feet, you know, like we did so much. And I helped her heal traumas, very hard traumas from her childhood without even planning it. And so she's like, why don't you do this? Like, we could pay to just take them to this trip and do whatever you did to me right now.
Yeah.
So it's not something that I've been thinking about.
No.
It's something that she mentioned, but I would love to have the knowledge to help others to feel better. Because I want to feel better. Yeah. And I'm still healing from all of these traumas. And I'm still healing. I'm still learning. But it's so easy when as soon as you do it, it gets so easy. You don't get stressed for little things. You don't get hurt so much for little things. You start understanding that that's the path you have to take.
Yeah, no, and I think that on a daily basis now, even silly things like when I'm in traffic or somebody's being annoying or I find myself being irritated. I mean, you see me, I was a little bit stressed earlier on today, and I will kind of try and, I know what I am inherently as a human, the human being that's been created. So now I do have the tools to say, let it go, just breathe through it. Don't say the words that you're thinking, just let them go, and I'm getting better. And I think it's great that just as individuals, we can work on ourselves. Not that we need to go and sell it or teach it or be anything, but we can just work on ourselves so that we can show up in the world and be better for our relationships, for your daughter, for you. And
it's so important for our relationship with your daughter and with your kids, but it's also so important to a relationship as like a partner. And I tell my friends all the time, I've been single for 4 years. And not because I don't get people that want to be with me or talk to me. It's because I'm so selective now who I want to spend my time. Do I want to spend my daughter's time with someone who doesn't want anything? Do I want to spend my mom's time or my family time to someone who just want to play around? Yeah. So I don't even give a chance. That's not an option for me. So if you're not worth my time, I'm not going there, And if you're giving that time to someone, be aware that you're grabbing that energy, that you taking trauma from them, that you're like, it's like I see it, and this is funny because I see it as a puzzle, right? We all are part of a puzzle, but we don't have to be attached to each other. You have to be attached to your mom, your daughter, your friends, close friends, because I eliminated friends too. If to friends, to people who give something, who are always constantly growing, because you don't want someone who doesn't see a future, that doesn't work, that doesn't do anything. You always either have to be here, but not like in the bottom. So for you to be the best, you have to be with the best. So just to grow and learn how relationships, and learn how to take care of your mind and of your heart and your soul and your energy.
Well, look, I think you're a very special young woman, Monica, and I feel the peace around you. I feel that calmness around you. And
it's been incredible. Yeah. It's been incredible. Not too long ago, something happened to me, and I'm like, wow, it feels so good not to feel stressed or sad. And I think this is the best I have ever been, the happiest I have ever been, the calmest I have ever been, but I know it's not comparing to where I'm going to be. And I want people to feel that way. Yeah. And that's
keep teaching that and keep telling people and keep speaking it. I think everyone I meet is searching, and everyone I meet wants that peace and that fulfillment. So thank you, Monica. I'm excited for your daughter. I think what a lovely mummy that she has. And all your clients.
Teaching her too.
Yeah. Well,
at night, I'm well, I'm happy. Like we say all of this, and then the mirror in the morning, hey, good morning, how are you today? I am happy, I am beautiful, I am thankful, so it's also teaching our kids to have those tools to be better.
And you know what? The next generation will be so much better than us. But thank you so much. Thank you for coming and sharing. It was lovely to have you here and to be able to talk to you about this rather than just saying hi over the top of someone's head. So thank you very much, Monica.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.